Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today I'm really looking forward to this convo with the beautiful Karen Wright. Karen, welcome, my dear.
Thank you, babes. I'm glad to be here.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're just going to hop right in because you have such a beautiful story and a message that I find so inspiring. So let's just start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do. Kind of intro yourself to us.
Oh, I'd love to share about me. Yes, so by trade, I am a realtor. I've been doing the real estate market for the last decade plus. Love working with clients and being of service to others. During this whole experience of real estate, it has allowed me to explore new hobbies. And I wrote a book in 2019 during COVID, and it became an international bestseller in 5 countries. And it's basically my memoir, so my life story. And with that book, it led me into the podcast. So being interviewed like we're doing today. And I just loved doing this. Like I just loved listening to people's stories. So I went and started my own weekly live podcast show. It was a radio show with Voice America and did that for a year, and then went on to a monthly podcast called Now Women Ignite. I have 3 beautiful grown children and one grandson that I love. He's 3, going to be 3 in July. I live in Ogden. I live on a mountainside, and I have 2 furry pups that I hike the trails every day. I'm a tree hugger. Just
I'm a tree
shortening.
hugger.
I'm a tree hugger. That's what I am. I'm in nature every day. Um, I love the energy world, and I have really opened up my life to the energy world with learning new things with it, modalities, and all that wonderful stuff. So we can deep dive into that later if you want me to.
I
But other
love
than that, I'm been divorced 10 years and have really come into myself in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Now, hold off, guys. If you guys are watching this, because this is also, you might be listening to this on just the audio version or watching it on YouTube because it's going to be on both. But if you're seeing Karen, the guys are going to be lining up. They're going to be like, she's single. What? And I know what the women are thinking. They're thinking, you're a grandma. What? You're so gorgeous. You have 3 grown children. How old are you? Like, do you mind me asking? Share with
No,
us.
I am 57.
Okay. The reason, so many women are probably gasping when I ask that question. I think it's so silly when women are ashamed or embarrassed of their age. Like for you to say I'm 57, that is something you should definitely be so proud of because you look so young. So, I mean, 57 is a young little chickadee. You're still a young little
Right?
chickadee. But but wow, you look amazing. Give us a before we go into like your deep soulful convo that we're gonna have today. Give us a little tips about your how do you look like this? What are your secrets?
You know what? I want to give first credit to my pharmacist, my local pharmacist in town, Christine Jacobson. She is a compound naturalist with hormones. And I started working with Christine probably when I was about 42, 43 with my hormones. And she's the one that will like do all your blood work, do everything, and then say, what do you want to feel like? Do you want to feel like, a 42-year-old, or you want to feel like a 20-year-old? I'm like, 20, here we go. Like, of course I want to feel younger. And in her mindset, it's like, it doesn't matter your age. What is your body telling you? And with that whole stuff with the hormones, and as we, go through menopause and all that kind of stuff, she's able to control the hormones for me.
Mhm.
She adapts everything for me as an individual. And like, we're all individuals, we're all raw and authentic. So why should my hormones be the same as your hormones?
Mhm.
Right? Why one pill cannot fix everybody?
Mhm.
And so I want to give credit to her because I started back in the day when I was doing stuff, and I really feel that has been a huge part of it. And the other thing is, this is going to sound maybe silly, but I detoxified my life from humans that did not lift me up. Humans that were very toxic, humans I can't breathe around. And I've I've allowed myself to be very particular about who I surround my energy with. Toxic people just weigh you down. And it's been amazing. It wasn't with something like, oh, you're toxic, I don't want to be your friend. But I think as you start to grow and evolve, they just start leaving you, or you start leaving them. Like, the separation thing I'm talking about. And
Oh,
it's just gradual. It's not like all of a sudden, hey, where'd you go? It's just like an easy release. And I think that's really important. Um, and I do what I want to do. I put me first. I have a morning routine of what I do, and I've been able to create that actually since my divorce. But you
okay.
don't have to be divorced. You don't have to get divorced to create life. That's not what I'm saying here either.
Oh my gosh, I
In
love
my situation,
that. So when you said this might sound silly, but I detoxified my life with toxic people. That does not sound silly. I'm like, you are speaking to my heart right now because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I totally believe that. I've believed that for a long time. It makes so much sense. People can go and they can do lots of anti-aging type things,
yeah,
but they don't have that joy, that peace in their energy field or in their eyes. And that's what I believe makes you so vibrant and gorgeous and sexy. You're sexy, mama. But uh it's that's such a huge thing. Like I've seen really beautiful people. It's not just women, but men too, in toxic relationships, intimate partnerships. Having it doesn't have to be your intimate partnership. It can be you have a lot of toxic friends around you or family around you taking advantage of you, draining your energy, influencing you in a negative way. And it's very aging, isn't it?
it is
It ages you big time.
so much. And I don't think people realize it because that's the norm. That's an individual's norm, right? Situations or lifestyles. And yeah, but in my reality, I'm a dreamer. Like, I'm going to live happily ever after. I am a queen, and um, I really believe that we get to create our lives,
Mhm.
and how powerful that is. Powerful, probably
Empower. Yeah.
powerful. Yeah, empower is empowerment. I
Yeah.
think
Totally. I love that. So you said you're an agent. I find so many agents are really in this spiritual, well, personal growth. A lot of agents are in the personal growth world, and then I just find the whole industry fascinating because they're very progressive. What is it? What is it about the real estate world? And I know not every agent's the same, but a lot of real estate agents are, reading books all the time and going to seminars. And I mean, probably at least 50% of my client base in my coaching business is agents, real estate agents. And so, what is that? What do you think that is?
I really think it's a way. We're with people all the time. We're with clients trying to serve, and you're dealing with all sorts of personalities and characters. And I truly believe that if you are grounded and really know who you are, and centered, then you will be able to adapt to personalities and characters and realize they're not upset or at you, like they're not putting their energy on you, that you're able to accept it and understand it's them, and I'm going to do my best to work with this person. And more and more, I believe that agents are really realizing, because we've been the ups and downs, we've been in the lows of the depths, and like a lot of industries have. And realtors have really struggled. And so, when you're in the bottom, bottom of the pit, you kind of go, what am I doing?
Hmm.
What do I need to do? How can I improve myself? Because real estate is all about you. It's an entrepreneurship. You have to be the one driven to go and make money. And it's not as easy as everyone thinks. Oh, you put up a sign and do all, do the contract and go. No, agents that know the job and really care, really serve. To me, real estate is about serving our clients all the way through. And we're up late at nights. Our weekends are taken. I mean, it's crazy, crazy job. But we do seminars, we read books, we do things, try to become better oriented, communicating with people, understanding people, listening to what our clients want.
Yeah.
And I just feel that more and more realtors are understanding that.
I love real estate. I love everything. It's so fun for me to like constantly hear about what's going on in the industry. And what I find is, like you said, you're in a career of serving. What I find is you are all coaches or healers in your own way, because you're helping people go through really hard times. At times, they're going through divorces. So many times, you're helping them with transactions, deaths in the family, um, big life changes, and you end up many times becoming really close with your clients and getting to know them really well. So that's really cool. All right, so let's hop into. I want you to tell us a little bit about your life story. What are some things that you have gone through in your life that have led you on that path of healing, that have made you get to that space where you're like, I have to grow, I have to learn, I have to heal. What is your story, my dear?
I'd love to tell you. So I was married at 19 and 7 months pregnant. And 3 months later had a beautiful baby girl. She was in intensive care for first 10 days of her life, not 10 years, 10 days of her life. She was born with seizures. And so this little spirit came in, and it was touch and go for the first 3-4 days. And being a new mom, I was like, what is happening? Like, all this is new experience for me anyway. So during raising my daughter, Kalina, I learned a lot of patience and listening to what doctors were telling me were wrong with her, listening to, my little baby, trying to connect with her. And as the years went on, I waited for about 6 years to have my next child, just because Kalina was my life. I gave everything, all my time, effort, energy to her through speech therapy, OT. She had 3 or 4 different eye surgeries because she had lazy eye. Always getting her blood work done with her, medicine because of the seizures. She always had been on seizures, and then learning disabilities. So she just took a lot of time and effort, and she did all through her life, but it became a part. So during this time, raising her and then having 3 other kids afterwards, after 6, and then it was like boom, boom, boom. Every 2 years had 3 more, just growing that family together. And during this time, not realizing it, but being in a controlled partnership, one that was very manipulative, and it was his way or the highway. And just me being young, understanding that I was here to please my husband, that's what I do. I'm a mom. I want everyone to be happy. And just fast forwarding that on, for the first 15 years, that's all I did. And I think as women, that's what we do. We serve and we help everyone else, but we forget about ourselves, which I totally did. Then when my oldest daughter, Kalina, when she was 18, she was a runner at the local school here, Ogden High School. And it was her first race of her senior year. And at this 2-mile mark, she went into a seizure that led to a cardiac arrest, and she died on the field. And so this was a trauma, dramatic thing that happened not only to our family, but to the whole community, because it was at a school event. And it was something that you never want any parent to experience. Parents are not supposed to bury their children. And so all of a sudden I became one of those who buried their child. And during that whole turmoil and loss that we went through, it's very interesting that my husband and I at the time never talked about it. He was at the race when it happened, and I was with my second child at another music lesson, kind of split the, partnership up there. And he witnessed the whole thing. And as a father, not being able to save your child, right? Very horrific. And it's one of those things that he's never talked to me about his feelings or what he felt or what he went through and really what exactly happened. And so I've had to, heal myself because I had no one else to rely on. And so instead of healing during that time, I just shoved everything down. All the emotions, all the feelings are shoved down and tried to raise my 3 kids as normal as possible after losing a sibling and continue on with life. And then probably 10 years after Helena's death in 2014, I finally asked for a divorce after a 28-year marriage. And that was probably one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. But I woke up one morning and I didn't recognize who I was. I was not me. And that was scary. And in my mind, I felt like I couldn't change in the environment I was in. I needed to remove myself from the environment, which I did. And it was the most scary thing I've ever done, but yet the most liberating thing I have ever done in my life. Like I just, I always put, you can't put a price on freedom. I walked away from a lot financially, things like that. But in my mindset, I was like, I can do this. I know I can do this. And that's when I started the real estate world because I had been a stay-at-home mom. And so I was like bound and determined to prove to my girls, first of all, my girls, that you can be single on your own and be a survival, not a victim anymore, that you can do it. And also to my son, because I want him to realize that as he grows older, his wife better be a partner. They better be equal. None of this stuff. So that was where my journey began. And during the last 10 years, I've lost my dad and my brother within 3 weeks of each other. And then I lost my mom a year later. And so I feel like loss is like part of my life. And I don't know why in this life, maybe I needed to experience it. But it's something that happens to all of us. And at the end of the day, we get to choose, right? How are we going to act? How are we going to receive? And it just doesn't happen overnight. I think losing oneself is probably one of the hardest things. First of all, that someone has to realize and then acknowledge and then take action.
Oh, wow. When you said, when we're talking about loss, you don't normally think about loss as losing yourself. And so when you're talking about all this loss that you've gone through, and then you're like, I woke up one day and realized that I have lost myself. It's like that was the thing to wake you up to go, hey, I gotta go find her. I gotta go on a journey. Wow, that's really powerful because you don't think about it. I've never thought about it in that way of like, I've heard people say I've lost myself before. I didn't recognize myself, but when you are going through so much, the thing that scared you the most was that you had lost yourself and you didn't recognize you. Wow. Wow. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how that must have been for you. I think that's the hardest thing that I've ever seen any human to go through is to lose a child, to have to say goodbye to a child in, physical form. That is so hard, I'm sure. And the fact that you were such a young mom and had your daughter with all of these health issues, did she, once you got through that first part of her life, did she live a pretty healthy life? Did she have seizures? Like how often were her seizures? And did you know during your pregnancy? Anything? Or was it just like, boom, here's the situation and you got to get through it?
Yeah, so back in the 80s, they didn't have ultrasounds, and when they did, you had to pay for it. So
Yeah.
we're like, we're gonna get one.
Yeah.
So no, we had no clue that she had him. But it's crazy that you asked that question because Jen, I remember that being pregnant, I could feel her like boom boom, boom boom, like her arm like just fluttering or her leg fluttering. And realizing after the fact she was born that she was seizuring inside of me.
Oh,
So
wow.
they were able to pinpoint that she started seizuring in the first stage, embryonic stage of the pregnancy,
Mm.
the first trimester, which I was like, how does one figure that out? Doctors are amazing to me. So yes, we had no clue that that was happening. Once we did get her situated on the medicines and things like that, she was really as normal as can be. Like she was healthy as a horse, and the medicine kept everything in control. We would watch like during growth spurts because if she grew pretty quick or she got overly tired or ate too much junk food or things like that, she would seizure. And so it was just kind of keeping her in a healthy lifestyle and just, rechecking the doctors every 6 months to a year, making sure her meds were good. And then after a certain time, like 4 to 5 years on a certain medicine, the body becomes almost immune to it. So then we'd have to wean her off one and then add a new one. And the new one always had different side effects, made her feel different, things like that until her body adjusted to it. Again, so it was a constant, you know, every 4 or 5 years, I just knew things were going to happen. So I was like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after her passing, after that, on the field, her cardiac arrest, and your husband witnessing that, it's so beautiful to see your compassion for him and what that must have been like for him. Um, you said he never talked about it. Did you try to talk to him and try to get, or did you go, I know just not to go there because he doesn't want to talk about it?
Yeah. Our relationship was one that we didn't really share our emotions from
Mhm,
day one.
mhm,
It was more about work, um, where we're gonna live, like things like that, day to day, day in, day out type stuff, but never like, what are your dreams? What are your passions? What do you want in life? I knew his was work. He had his work, career and things going, what he wanted to do. And every now and then he'd share me what was happening, but that was when he felt like he wanted to share. And so we never had that relationship. And no one ever talks or back then talked about communicating and being able to share emotions or feelings because you're not supposed to have them,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
If I ever cried in front of him trying to say something to him because I would get so emotional. You see how I can get very emotional very quick. And then tears would come and he would almost say, stop,
Mm,
control your emotions, quit crying. I can't understand you.
yeah. Wow.
And so I would just be like, I'd turn it off. And then he'd be like, see, you can control your emotions.
Wow. So you got two empaths sitting here having this convo. The minute you start waterworks, I'm starting waterworks. I'm like, oh, okay. But because being in this work, you really open up your heart and your energy and your emotion to others to connect with them, to be able to meet them on that bridge. And um, so for me, I'm definitely more in tune with energy and more emotional than I was before because I had built a lot of walls around my heart. It's just like that's what when your husband was saying to you, turn it off. He was basically saying, build a wall. Build a wall, you can do it. You can build a wall around your heart. I've done it, so you can do it too, right? But when you were telling me that story and I was connecting to your husband at that moment, it was really overwhelming for me. I was trying to kind of compose, like, I'm like, no, Jen, not right now. Okay, we're not going there right now. But I was trying to just kind of get a rein on the emotion there because I was connecting to him. I have a very a soft place in my heart for men and boys healing, because so many men have been told, like your husband, where did he learn that? He was told that as a kid. And most boys are, I mean, I think that we're changing. I think things are shifting, and this is happening less in families. But how many times have boys been told, don't be a puss, don't be a wuss, don't be a wimp, turn it off, don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry about, be a man, buck it up, suck it up, right? And all of these things that we've told our boys, which in turn was stuff, stuff, stuff. And then they become a man who's married to a woman who's intuitive and emotional, and she's meant to connect with her children and know what their feelings and their needs are. And then they go, well, why can't you connect with me, husband? And the husband's like, I have no idea how to do that.
Right.
I've never been taught that. I've been taught, in fact, I've been programmed my whole life to not show my emotions and to not connect. And so
Mhm.
it's really hard for men. And I can only imagine how hard that was for him to go through that experience. And that's tough, really tough. So what did you do to heal? How did you heal? Because that's a lot for you to go through. And how long did it take you to start to feel better or feel um, more peace or joy after your daughter's passing?
So I was gonna say, like after her passing, um, I went into survival mode, you know. So I don't know if I didn't really deal with it until after my divorce.
Oh, and that was 10 years after,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Because I just during that time, like the first 6 months, I get the kids off to school, come back and sleep from 1 till like 3, 2 p.m. or from 8, 9 to 1, get up, shower, go pick up the kids, do their, after school stuff, do homework, feed them dinner, get them ready for bed, and I'd go to bed.
You would
So,
sleep from 9 to 1.
yep. And then be
Wow.
back in bed by 9 p.m. Like I
Wow.
slept. I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah, you
And
were
so,
grieving. You were
yeah,
depressed,
yeah.
probably.
I
Yeah.
was depressed. I did get on some antidepressants that I stayed on probably once we leveled. It was good. Probably about 3 years after the fact, 3 to 5 years, until I was able to wean myself off that and just feeling like, okay, I got this.
Mhm,
Like I can do
mhm,
this now. And so I'm all about when I've talked to parents who've lost their kids and they're so depressed. I'm like, get on something.
mm,
It's okay to be on medication during this time you need it,
mhm,
because it does help you.
mhm,
It does help you just get through and have some little spark, little motivation every day to get up. And so I was all for that. I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
yeah.
And, and then I think my actual journey of healing really started after my divorce. And experiencing, I had first time with an energy person, a median. I never knew what that was. I grew up in the religious side of spirituality, so I didn't understand about the other spirituality side and the energy that's all around it. And so I ran into this lady, and she was actually part of the real estate world, but we were meeting for a one-on-one. And I walked into Barnes and Nobles, we were meeting, and she walked in, she's like, oh, your daughter passed. And I did not know this lady at all. And I stepped, I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I see her. Oh, she's fine. And she sits down and just starts going with her pitch of what she needed about the real estate world, right? And I like time out. Like, what was that about?
Mm,
And so then she explained that she has a gift of seeing those who have passed through the veil.
mhm,
And so that was my first experience of working with the medium, which I did. I worked with her for a while, and it started opening up my world even more so, connected with my daughter, Kalina, and my grandmother.
mm,
And so that was just like a whole new experience I've never done before. And how that peace, knowing that she was okay, And then since that, I just kind of stepping stone, like other healers would just enter into my life, which was crazy how that happens. You open up the door and they come flooding in. And I would say it was 2017, 18 that I was spoke to one over the phone, and she was in Florida. And she connected to my daughter, Kalina, again. And Kalina said something to me that just really, I always felt guilty in my heart about getting divorced. I knew I needed to, but I still felt guilty because I tore the family apart. You know, in the religion world, you just destroy the family, and everyday world, but also in the religion world, it was just more of a like, what are you doing, earth shaking type thing. And so Lorraine was the lady I was working with, and she said, Kalina wants you to know she understands why you asked for the divorce, and it's okay. She sees a bigger picture, and you needed to in order to heal. And Lorraine didn't know, like, I did ask for the divorce. I did it to heal. She didn't know any of that.
Mhm.
And so that was just another confirmation, like, thank you, God. Like, thank you. Because that guilt was just like, okay, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that guilt of getting divorced. I've been divorced, and when you have children, you, especially growing up, I was also born and raised in the same religion you were, and you're taught to just endure, just stick in there, just stay, just hold on, and um, and there is so much guilt with choosing to move on and choosing to heal and choosing you, and I think what so many parents, this is such a beautiful thing that you are talking about this, because I think so many people need to hear that message that, you know, living in an unhappy home with two parents that are disconnected, that are sad or numb,
Mhm.
is not honoring your family. And for now, if you choose to get up and move on and create a beautiful home with joy and laughter and connection and wisdom and healing, then, and your ex doesn't, then at least they have one home that's now healthy and beaming with light. And at least they have that example, because no parent would say that they want, like, if they were to look at their child in the future, no parent would say, yeah, I want my daughter to be miserable and sad and controlled and in a manipulating relationship, and I want her to stay. I want her to just, hang in there, babe.
Yeah.
No, you would say, you deserve more. I want you to be happy. I want you to enjoy your precious time here on earth, because it is limited, and days are fleeting, and you never know how much time you have here. So why not live it with joy,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that's such a beautiful point that you brought up. I love that so much. So, and I love that you're talking about your experience with mediums, because this is definitely a taboo thing in Utah. A lot of people are like, whoa, what? That's weird. Um, but I've had such crazy cool experiences with people that are in the healing world, that are psychics or mediums. I think it's important to, be very judicious who you go to. But I mean, that woman that just walked in, and I love how you said you walked into Barnes and Noble for a real estate meeting, and she was like, so matter of fact, like, oh yeah, you lost your daughter. Like,
Yeah.
that to me is someone who's connected to the spirit world, because they realize none of it's final. It's all just an experience we're having. It's a temporary experience,
Hmm.
albeit very painful at times. But um, but how could you deny that she was like, you weren't in doubt, because you were like, there's no way. There's no way. So you probably were automatically a believer of what she was saying was truth, because how could you deny that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, yay.
Oh my gosh.
I
It
gotta
lit
learn
you
more.
up probably.
Yeah, and then I wanted just to learn more.
Mhm.
Like, I want this. Like, I became so hungry and almost like my time was limited. And I was on this path, like, what is my mission? What is my mission? Why am I here? This whole thing. And I finally realized it's just spread love and light. I mean, that is what it is my mission here is to be a light.
Mm.
And so each day I always ask, let me be of light and let me be of service to others and let those doors stay open and let me be aware and be able to walk through and help. And knowing like your passion, knowing why you're here, it's just so enlightening. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, here's another day. I get to shine the world up. Here we go.
And you do beam light. You totally just exude that. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, I think that your message is so important because people go through things in life and they feel like they're alone. You
Mhm.
know, I've worked with a lot of clients or had people that I love in my life that have gone through certain experiences that I have not gone through, such as a passing of a child or a passing of a spouse.
Mhm.
I've had people in my life that have passed that it's been very painful, but I have not had either of those experiences. And I think it's so healing when you share your message of, hey, I went through this and I feel you and I hear you and I'm on that bridge with you, but it's also going to be okay because people can look at you and see that you have found joy in your life, and that's amazing what you've been able to do, because I think that really is the game of life, to go through really hard things, heal, and go through that dark night of the soul and get to the other side and actually be able to enjoy your life again and find that light and that love and that joy. So how did you so you started working or kind of going into the spiritual world. What else did you do? And what would you say, like, okay, so 10 years after your daughter's passing, then you went through a whole lot of more loss, the loss of a marriage, loss of both your parents and your brother. Wowza. Holy macro. Do you look back on little Karen and go, how did she get through that? I have
Yeah.
so much love and compassion for you. You're a rock star, Karen. Wow, right?
Yes.
Um, but how long would you say that your journey was to connect the dots to where you started feeling like, okay, I know who I am now. I've remembered.
It's interesting. So my dad passed 2018 November. My brother passed December 4th, 2018. And then the guy I was dating, um, basically, I walked out on him a month later in January. So it was like boom, boom, boom. And come to find out, he had someone else on the side for the last 6 months. And I didn't know that. I just felt it was time, something was up.
Mm.
No explanation or whatever. And when I walked out the door, he's like, see, didn't try to stop me. So I was like, apparently something's up there, this relationship's done. And so I always laugh, like I lost 3 men in 3 months.
Mm.
And it was that time where I was just like, I was just, I was so hurt, like just hurt and devastated by, someone would treat me like this, first of all. But understanding that it was time. So I decided I was just felt inspired. I needed to learn yoga. And so I booked a trip to Bali for a month. So I said goodbye to my kids. My daughter got married May 30th, and I gave her a kiss and flew out the next morning to Bali and spent a month there by myself in this yoga program. And that is where I feel like I started to understand like the yogi way and bringing together all religions or upbringings and softening that for me into a loving, kind way of religion is good. It's another tool, a guide to help people. And understanding how religions cross, the threads just keep crossing back and forth with beliefs and things like that. And then realizing that the yoga and the breath work, we learned so much about breathing and how the breath is the gift of life and how we take it for granted every day. And just going on these deeper levels and then bringing meditation with that. And meditation was something that I had started prior to 2019 when I went on this trip. And I listened to a bunch of audios, like helps self-help books all the time. Like on the trails, listening, started meditation, then did this yoga trip. And then came back and met well, I was telling you about, I'm going to back up just for a second because this is part of the story. I was telling you about, and Lorraine, who told me about, Kalina said everything's okay, right? The medium. And at the end of the call, she goes, Karen, you need to write your story. Kalina says, write your story. She goes, I don't know what that means. I go, yeah, I don't know what that means either because I don't write. I don't journal. I don't do anything. I never have, right? And so when I got back from Bali, I went to I'm on the board for the YCC Battered Women Shelter, and we had our big gala, and we had our speaker there that night. It was Bridget Cook, and she spoke. She's an author, and she spoke about writing your story. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, she's a person. That's my connection. She's going to write my story. So I went up to her afterwards and just said, hey, will you write my story? And she goes, no, you'll write your story. So I joined her 1-year program and began my journey of getting out all the emotions of losing my daughter. And so I wrote my book, my memoir. It's right here. It's called Now or Never, Shine Baby Shine. And that was probably one of the biggest things I've ever done in my life, is being able to share with everybody my life story and in the toxic relationship, but also the things I did as a person. You know, I cheated, he cheated. I wasn't honest, he wasn't honest. Like, it was both sides. And I owned everything that I had done. And once you own something, no one can point their fingers. And life becomes very easy. There's no lying, there's no transparency happens. And to me, that is very uplifting and free. And so this whole story was, I was able to just get everything out, be able to do it. And it was an 18-month process. So it was published on my birthday in 21. And that's, to me, was probably like the cherry on top after everything I've done, was to do this and then be able to share my story and be able to speak and help people along the way.
Wow. Wow. I love that. So inspiring. You wrote a book even. That, and did it take you a year to write?
It was 18 months from start to finish. So we had published on Amazon. You can get my book on Amazon. And then in 22, I put it out, released it on Audible, because I listen and I listen to my books, and I'm like going, well, half the world's probably like me, right? So it's like, we got to get on Audible so people can listen. So that's what I did. Yeah. And it's just been, it's pretty cool just to be able to share my story with people. Yeah.
Are you the one speaking in your book then? Is it your voice?
It's not. You know what? I thought about it because, I don't know, I slur my words a lot. I don't articulate. I talk fast. I cry very easy. I like to start laughing. Like, I did read like the beginning, like the thank you type stuff, you know, on it. But I'm like, I need to hire a professional.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know,
Cool.
leveraging.
Nice. Wow. So what's something that you can say, what are some like tangible things that you can tell people if they're in the depths, if they're going through loss, if they are feeling like they don't know what to do? What's something that you would tell them that they could do to help pull themselves or put them on their path?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Writing, writing down your feelings and understand that no one else is going to see what you're writing. So whether you're upset or sad, whatever it is, write down, get out that emotion, that anger. Um, I'm all about crushing things. I don't know, like if you have a lot of pent up anger, I went to the dollar store and got, a bunch of the dollar dishes or whatever and a baseball bat and went out in the field and just goggles on and just whack the smack out of everything. Like just getting out and just yelling and screaming. Like there's so many ways of getting that emotion out of you. And it's healthy to get it out. And that was a little extreme, but they have those smash it things that you can go into a building and start smashing things. You pay to go smash things. So go do it. Like get out that anger and frustration. There's no reason to be holding on to it. And then I love any kind of self-help book. Meditation to me was really important. And every night I still do this. I meditate every day, go on my trails. I read a book. I have a gratitude journal. I write 5 things or more each day of what I'm grateful for. Then I always write a little letter to God. To God. People probably think I'm so weird, but I write to God and I just say, "Hey, this is happening in my life. What should I do?" And I wait, and then I start writing, and the words are coming to me. The answers comes to me because I'm just waiting and sitting. And the thing is, we already know, right? We have that energy, the God and Mother energy inside of all of us.
Yeah.
And so if you sit on it and allow it to happen, your answers come forth. And that to me is very healing also.
Beautiful. That's not weird, honey. It's not.
Okay.
Beautiful. So how can people get in contact with you? How can they find you so they can buy your book on Amazon? They can get it on Audible. How can they listen to your podcast? Kind of give people an idea how to find you.
Yeah, if you just go on now or never, let me think now, Karen at shinenowornever.com. My Instagram handles the same, Shine Now or Never. And then Facebook is Karen Wright, YOLO, YOLO. You only live once.
Okay.
But it's actually
We'll put that in the show notes as well.
so yeah, you can just go on that, and then Voice America. You can go on Voice America, but actually my website will have my link to all the shows. But if you go to YouTube channel, Karen Speaks Out, all my recordings are on that. And even if you go to podcasts, type in Karen Wright, they will pop up on Apple, iPod, you know how that all works, like spreads out. So it's
Awesome.
good.
Hey, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your message with us. Your
Of course.
message is really profound. It's so inspiring. You're amazing. You've gone through so much, and I love the work that it's so obvious that you've done the work, because you could be in a very different place right now in your life, and um you've done it, honey. You have walked through the fire and come out on the other side. And that's amazing. That's so beautiful for people to see. So thank you for your example.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate you and the opportunity to be here and with your listeners. This is great.
So let's end with if you could tell the world anything, what's your message to the world?
And one of my favorite ones is never divorce yourself. And mine is like, I will never divorce myself again. Always put yourself first in a beautiful way, not being selfish, but selfless. And remember, this journey is about you and only you. So create what you want.
So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thanks for being here with us, everyone, today, and listening to Karen's beautiful message. And have a fabulous week. Bye for now.